Hey everyone, how's it going? Bowser the Healer here, and this is my Mythic Plus wish list. This is my Season 3 wish list of things I want to see in the near future that I think could make Mythic Plus a better place. I want to get into it. I have a lot of responses from some of my other videos that I want to give, and there's a bunch of topics to cover. So hey, if you like healing content, get subscribed. It mean a lot to me. And of course, if you want to learn how to play Preservation or Mistweaver, I'm going to have some beginner's guides for M+ coming out hopefully soon. I'm going to be working on them after this video, and hopefully I can get them out early in the 10.1.7 patch. But let's start. Keys. Now, keys have one problem with them that I feel like we could fix with a few things. What if key levels didn't drop when you failed? Or rather, what if you could tell the Keystone person, hey, I would like this key to go back to the one I was just on. I want to run it back. Now, Blizzard might want us to not be able to farm something so easily for gear, but what if you could turn off the gear, right? If that was a problem, and just keep running the key and get score if you get it. I'd love that personally. I think that would be a really nice change to the game. To be able to run back a key would allow newer players to try dungeons out multiple times to get a hang of them, and it would allow tournament players and people trying to push high keys a little less stress about finding a perfect composition that will hopefully not fail their key, and they can actually just throw themselves at it multiple times, maybe with a group, until the group clears it. I think that would be a lot healthier for the game. I also talked about this before, but titles. Now, I have more information on this one and some responses. So, top 0.1% title is a good thing. Keep Mythic Plus competitive. I think that's fun. But what if every spec had an achievement for top 0.1, 1, and 10%? That would be really rad. And then additionally, I would like to see a split system where if we have reworks we want to release for certain specializations or major balance changes that could really hurt the balance of the game, that they happen during a seasonal split. You basically say, hey, it's 10.1.5, we deliver the titles out to the top 0.1% and the people who had them for their specs, and now it's split number 2. This is similar to maybe something like Valorant or Overwatch, where a new character comes out and they wait a little bit before they're allowed in ranked, so that they don't upset the current balance of the game too much. They're going to probably cause changes in the metagame, but at least it's not immediately upsetting the people who already put in a ton of hard work. In fact, I think a lot of the problems with augmentation being released at way too powerful could have been avoided with a mid-season split, because all the people who got top 0.1% before that mid-season drop of augmentation, they all deserve that title. They're all goated players for the work they put in. But after all those reworks came out and augmentation, we were able to ascend so far past there that all that player hard work kind of went down the drain. And I think that fixes a problem that Yummy TV brought up. If a player plays an off-meta spec that suddenly becomes popular, they might not have access to getting their top 1% title that maybe they always try to go for. And I don't know if there's a good solution for that, but if they know that the spec is becoming meta at the start of a season, they can decide for themselves if they want to push or not. And of course, if the metagame changes, then they'll have an understanding of how hard they need to work now, or if they want to put in the work, maybe when it becomes easier, etc. It's not a perfect solution though. If a player is playing off meta and it becomes meta and they don't want to play meta anymore and it kind of takes the glory out of it for them, I get it, but I think this would have more benefits than downsides, but that is something to be concerned about. And if any of you have any dope solutions for that, I'd love to hear that in the comment section. Okay, healers. I want to talk about the healing issue. I have no problem with this season's healing. I think the healing nerf wasn't a bad thing, and it's actually made healing a lot more fun for me and interactive. You get to use more of your kit. I feel like it's more expressive, but I do feel like there's a part of healing that is a little tough, and I'd like to see it buffed, but this is a slippery slope because I've also seen people like Resto Druids mashing Rejuve the entire dungeon and running out of mana as their primary method of healing. And so, spot healing. How do you make spot healing better? Because right now on some specs, it doesn't feel good. Like Discipline Priest is the one I always think about. When I have to ramp for a boss fight, I feel unstoppable. The healing is through the roof and I'm living my best life. And then all of a sudden, there's a fixate on target and I'm spamming flash heal crying in the club. I would love for spot healing to feel a little more impactful, but how do you do that without making it the only thing you do? Maybe you have ramping mana costs. Maybe you have it so that you can power up your spot heal, or more spot heals deliver a small DR so that you can use that to help get a sort of a kickstart to your heal and maybe save someone's life with some spot healing. I feel like that would help. a lot of spot healing has gotten nerfed, and like sometimes I vivify a target and I don't have an enveloping mist on them as Mistweaver, and I'm like, oh, did the health bar even go up? But the worry, of course, is the balance there, so I'm not sure how you would do that, but I wanted to throw it out there as I feel like the rest of healing feels pretty okay right now, and if you made spot healing feel a bit more impactful somehow without breaking healing, that could be a really nice change, because I feel like with the blanket change that they made, we did lose what spot healing was used for before. Okay, this one could take a little bit longer to work into the game, but ultimately I know the game supports these kinds of data hooks. Death Recap. Death Recap is a base game feature, and Details, the add-on, lets us know a lot about why people died and what they could have done differently by seeing what type of damage hit them, was it avoidable, did they use a cooldown, etc. I wish Death Recaps told me what defensives I still had up, maybe some potential self-heals for DPS and tank classes, and of course, give me the what killed me. Was it a back hit? Was it an auto attack? Was it, you know, threat related? Was it a kickable, interruptible, CCable thing? Could I have walked out of that swirly, etc. Now, some players might use this information to be toxic, but A, you can do that right now in Details if you really want to. But B, I think if a player sees their Death Recap and they go, oh my goodness, I had spell reflect up. I could have spell reflected that. That helps the brain learn what they could do. And maybe one day I get DPS who regularly hit their defensives in a 17. That would be great. But a better Death Recap system I think would go a long way. I don't want this to be an add-on that's made. I mean, add-ons are great, but I want this to be base game so that players can always see this information and it can really help them out. Now, this final one is wild. So if this sounds not out of pocket, so to say, but like if this sounds a little crazy, you can tell me in the comment section. But do y'all know what makes paladins so thick? Holy paladins, why they're so good? Well, it's not their healing and their damage anymore. That's kind of, I feel, a bit more evened out and balanced right now. It's good. Maybe it's a little stronger than other healers, but nothing crazy. It's this passive, Sanctified Plates. This is on the paladin side of the tree, but armor increased by 20%, stamina increased by 10%, and damage taken from area of effect attacks reduced by 10%. For 2 talent points, that's easily the best talent in the game, I think. That's so strong. Now, I don't really know if Rep Paladin and Prop Paladin having this is a bad thing, but man, if Holy gets this, but no other healer gets this kind of survivability, that makes healing a lot harder for everyone who isn't a Holy Paladin, because you don't have to worry about yourself as much. You can just worry about your teammates, and you can become someone that gets healed later because you simply survived something. But wouldn't that actually be kind of cool? So I spitballed this with chat, and then chat gave an even better idea of this. So what if Mythic Plus, we got an aura buff? Healers got stamina and avoidance, right? Maybe like 10% or something like that. I did not really do the numbers on this, so don't make fun of me. So what if you gave the DPS like some leech and the tank some speed? Everyone gets a little something something for Mythic Plus. Make dungeon running a little bit easier. Yes, you're raising the player power up, but you're only doing so in Mythic Plus. Newer healers will be a bit more tanky, and they'll be able to survive things a little bit easier. So they can focus on healing their friends. That should get them into the flow of Mythic Plus a little bit easier. And then at higher levels of play, yeah, they might be able to push more. More healers might become viable. Who knows how the metagame would change? But I don't see this as being anything but a win for all the healers, because if every single healer gets to focus a bit more on their teammates, I think that's a really good thing. But balance aside, I don't think this is something you could just throw out there and get prepared for the start of a season. This is a loftier idea of mine that I just wanted to throw out there and see what you all thought of it. But that's going to do it for this video. I want to hear some of your wish list and thoughts that you have on the next season. And of course, if you haven't hit subscribe, please hit that button. It'd really mean the world to me. Lots more coming. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.